Jim, the car salesman.
Specific
folks,
cocks.
let me tell you something. I'm a cocksucker. all
Folks,
right?
I suck cock.
I've been sucking cock here at the car dealership.
We're off to a very good start. It's already gay.
Since before they told me it wasn't my job. I was doing it because I thought it was my
already gay as
job.
fuck.
Listen,
thought
they
you were
hired me here.
hired.
They hired me here at,
They hired you to suck cock at the car
at
wash?
Davis Toyota in fucking Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. They hired me here. In
Yeah, actually, you're from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Nick.
1987. And
Adam, can I get a little something for that? You're over here looking at
That
your
was
phone.
good. No, that
I
was
say
good.
you're from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
And
Well,
when they-
apparently the hole in my kitchen ceiling will not be being fixed this week. So
Oh, that's good. It's
Okay.
probably not going to rain.
The sales manager.
No
at the
way
time-
that there's a hurricane coming right now.
The sales manager at the time said, "We're looking for." He was coked out of his mind. He said to me, "We're hiring salespeople. We're looking for real cocksuckers here." You know,
And you took it in a literal sense.
I took it literally.
Yeah, they thought you mean like someone
I-
with low morals.
I had been selling cars for 10 years at that point.
Yeah.
I was married, but I needed a job.
So,
You
just
had
to get
a
this
job.
straight, you had experience selling
And a
cars.
different dealership that closed. I
Oh.
got hired.
So you didn't even try and just sell cars. You
I
went
sold
right
a
to
Celica
suck cock.
GT my first day.
Well, good for you.
And the
Let's
guy
keep
said,
right
"That's
now.
great job, but we need two. All right, you need to keep going." Like I said, we're looking for real cocksuckers here. And when he said it the second time, that's when I sealed the deal
That's
to me
when
in
it
my
clicked.
mind. And I had my own cubicle, so I had been blowing customers. The first couple of times I cried.
Fuck.
Was it hard? It was hard for you to.
It was hard.
Man, I don't know if I'm on a good one right now or I can't stop thinking like because I ate something and I forgot to check if there was like shit in between my teeth before I started recording. Fuck it, bro. Fuck it.
But
To make that.
And they were just down. No, just out of curiosity, the guys you sucked, they were all down.
I'll tell
What
you.
was the clientele at
I'll
this
tell
place?
you what. In 2003,
Yeah.
it was 2 years after the towers fell.
Right.
Yeah.
They hired a guy named Vikram Singh, who had a very colorful turban, and the general manager of the dealership. He's a family guy. Naturally, he was a little concerned.
Of course.
So they knocked out all the walls in the cubicles and put in fucking glass, so we could keep an eye
To
on
make
him.
sure he wasn't doing terrorism.
To make sure.
Yeah.
It was 2 years after the towers
Of
fell.
course.
You
wanna-
can't be sure.
You can't be too sure. You
Well-
can't be too safe.
I had been salesman of the month going on,
That
10
whole 2
years
years.
at-
Yeah,
10
whole 2
At this
years.
point, because I was basically in a permanent state of trauma.
Right.
My wife had left me because she didn't even know about the cocksucking, but she'd look into my eyes and see nothing.
Something was missing there.
See-
you were
see- yeah.
broke. She saw a broken man where once there was a strong provider for
She'd
her
see
family.
Outta
the
here.
boiling, gelatinous mess of memories that refused to form themselves permanently in my head.
Mm-hmm.
As I thought about all the men whose
Damn.
cocks I was forced to suck just to sell a couple of Toyotas.
I guess what I'm confused about is not your
Well, they put the glass in, and then everybody saw me blowing some guy,
right.
and they said, "Look, you've been here with us the whole time. Back in '87, we could tell you we don't hire fags at this place,
Right.
but this is a new age. We don't have the towers anymore.
2000
Towers are
It's
gone.
2003. We can still call people fags, but we can't fire them for it. Now, what the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Remember Mike?" They're like, "Yeah, the guy that had a heart attack back in 1991." I said, "Yeah." He said, "We were looking for real cocksuckers." And they were like, "That's an expression."
Right.
And then we slowly panned to my face and
Wow.
zoomed in.
You were filming a kind of documentary office
Yeah,
office style docu comedy.
And then we took a look at Jim.
And then Jim
Right.
had a
Across
wacky
the
face.
office,
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and Jim was puffing out his
smirk.
cheeks and raising his eyebrows at the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the classic Jim somebody's been sucking cock when they didn't have to face.
So it was 12 years
Wow.
of this.
And I call that my 12 years a slave. 12 years a sex slave. So when that movie came out, it was so triggering. I had a manic episode and tore off all my clothes. And they found me in Appleton drinking my own piss in a Chinese buffet.
Get out of town.
But luckily, workers' comp covered the whole thing.
That is luck. That is really lucky.
So I've been in therapy now. I go 3 times a day. It's about $86,000 a month.
Workers comp
Therapy's expensive
covered
as fuck,
you
man.
having a mental breakdown off the clock at 12 years a slave and drinking your own piss in a Chinese buffet in Appleton.
I think that makes
Well,
sense to me.
you know, because I signed a waiver saying that it's we're gonna say it's nobody's fault. It's a no. They call it a no fault.
No fault, sure.
Where yes, I was been sexually abused by customers for years, but they realized
it did seem like you were kind of doing it though. You were
they
sort
went
of-
back and they looked at all of the customer reviews, and there's been people that go in there and said, "We want to go back to Jim. That guy's a real cocksucker." If my name's Jim, I think I can't remember.
No,
I don't
Jim. Your name's also Jim, I think.
Yeah, I
My
think
name's
everyone
Jim.
But
was
Jim also works there.
Jim from the office.
Jim from
was
the
there.
office works there.
Yeah,
different Jim, yeah.
But your name is Jim
and
too.
my name's Jim also.
I guess what I find most confusing about this is that you found, I guess, hundreds, if not thousands, of willing car buyers that wanted to get their dick sucked. Because
Well,
I'm
who
looking
the-
at you. You're
who
not
the-
a very good-looking man.
Who the hell do you think drives Toyotas?
Homosexuals.
You
Guys
said-
that are trying to
Accent is
get their
that? Like a
cocks.
Midwest
By
car
guys?
salesman?
I think so.
I mean, I drive a Toyota.
I mean, that explains.
I don't really want to get my dick sucked by guys.
And yeah, guess what? But here's the
Deep
rub.
down,
'cause
I
here's,
do.
here's the real answer.
Okay.
Turns out
Mm-hmm.
that I had a secret benefactor that had been paying people to come buy Toyotas for me so I could keep my job.
Really?
Yes.
Like a billionaire or something.
That must have been really expensive.
a patron of the arts.
Yes. Because I had written some poetry in college that made its way to a couple of zines in New York City.
Really?
Wow.
And none other than the guy from Bain Capital.
Wow.
Mitt Romney?
Sure.
Didn't he work there?
I think so.
Yeah.
I actually worked at Brain Capital.
So Mitt Romney was paying
Mitt
men to
Romney-
get their dicks sucked by you.
Well, he was like, well, I love this guy's poetry.
Oh, I like his poetry.
He's got really good poetry.
I don't approve of it.
Damn, I think I ate a little bit too much. I ate a little bit of too much rosemary. And like, I'm like just fucking thinking about random shit right now rather than kind of focusing on the fucking, man, whatever.
Sucking
He's
cock.
got really... Yeah, I mean, if he wants to suck cock, that's it.
I don't think that's Mitt.
That's exactly what Mitt Romney sounds like.
I say sounds like
Or Jit Romney.
Admits like a glove. That's what they say.
Yeah, that dude.
That's what he does. He Mitt Romney before he fucks one of his wives. He puts a condom on. He goes, admits like a glove. Oh, who let
All right.
the
Dude.
cum out of my penis?
Shut up.
Bitcoin. Stavros
Buttcoin.
coin.
Stavros coin.
Savi coin.
You should make Stavcoin.
I should. How the fuck do I do that?
Yeah, I don't know. You pay some guy in
Maybe
India.
Stav sucking my penis.
You think if I suck a guy's cock, he'll make a coin for me?
Yeah. I just wanted my own currency.
I think that's
And
how
I
it
did
works.
so
much to
I wanted to I came up with something called Toyota Coin. I thought it was going to revolutionize the dealership. Started talking to a couple guys online. We meet up in person. Long story short, I got raped. I got tricked into sucking cock, and that's why I'm here
So
at
this is
Grayfield Elementary talking to you kids today to warn you about the dangers of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
so this
A lot of you have been hearing cool stories about Bitcoin being used to buy downloadable content in video games. It's not happening, kids. There's not a single game where that works. Instead, I'm now HIV positive going around to schools.
Whoa, Jim. So this is
Jim,
separate
that
from
would
you
fucking
getting
suck.
raped in
I've had a
Toyota.
hard life.
Yeah.
Where I
Jim,
can-
it's been a long road.
Some people, they go through life and they learn a lot of different lessons. And some of us learn the same lessons over and over and over again.
Do you think at a certain point it becomes part of your identity and you think of yourself as a guy who gets raped?
You know, Nietzsche once said that the only way to find the true soul of a man is to put a cock in his mouth and see how he reacts. And that was told to me by a very wise man, a man I respected, who I found out years later was also a sex criminal.
Right.
What's his name?
His name was Robert. I met him at a bus stop that I would find out that he was living at.
And by any chance, did you suck Robert's cock?
I did, because he said the thing about Nietzsche, who I thought it was probably, that was smart. It seemed like a smart thing.
Yeah, he
that
seems
does sound
smart.
You know, I thought maybe later he'd buy a Toyota.
Right.
He was saying, he was like talking about, oh, I hate taking the bus. He said, I overheard you. You're talking about, you're the guy that sells Toyotas, right? And I said, yeah, that's me. And he said, boy, I'm really tired of taking the bus. I would love a Toyota if somebody would just, you know.
But I have too much cum in my balls to buy one.
Give me the, what they
It's slowing me down.
Slow me down. These heavy ass balls are making it impossible for me to reach for my wallet.
Yeah, give me the Sweet Jimmy treatment. Sweet Boy Jimmy treatment from down there at DeLorean Toyota.
DeLorean Toyota.
Wow.
What the fuck?
The Toyotas of the future today.
Wow.
Did you guys ever get sued by the DeLorean company?
No, because John DeLorean actually raped,
he raped you.
and he was always worried.
Stop getting.
Jim from fucking
How does he keep
Jim from Fond du Lac loves getting
He
raped.
doesn't love it. It just happened.
John
Yeah.
DeLorean,
Constantly.
we had a whirlwind romance where he took me to Northern Ireland with him when he was planning on building the factories. And I
Wow,
thought
you've
it,
had an interesting life. I thought you said you were married to a woman.
in my mind,
been a
I
long
thought
road.
he was headhunting me for a position as the vice president of sales at DeLorean, but
Right.
it turns out he thought I was cute and wanted my boy pussy.
But he did fly you out.
fuck?
That says something.
He flew me out. I knew
is a
something
boy
was up
pussy?
when I got there, and there were roses and a dress in
Wow,
my
you
hotel.
got wined and dined.
There was very little discussion of any kind of job position, and when I asked him about it, he said, "What position?" I sent you a letter in the mail that said, "I would love to blow a load in your mouth."
That's
And
a romantic
please
letter.
call me. And I thought he
Oh,
meant
shit, I
to
didn't
give
mean
me a
to
job.
That's
I don't know, Jim. That kind of seems on you, man.
No, that's
It
a
was
common
the
misunderstanding.
80s.
It was
It was
the
a
80s.
different. People had a lot.
I guess
of
you're right. I don't know
You were pretty
all the
fucked up.
slang from back then.
People talked in a very particular manner in the 1980s. It was the first decade you weren't allowed to openly use the N-word, and white people were still figuring out how to say
Right,
things.
right.
You were saying new sayings.
We couldn't say the N-word, but we hadn't yet stolen cuss words black people style.
Right,
So
right.
you go
right.
around, you'd be like, "Hey, shit ass,
Right.
get your dick ass car off my.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow a
Freaking-
load in your mouth.
I'm gonna blow a load in my.
I'm
not
gonna
your
fly you
mouth."
out to Northern Ireland.
Blow a load in your mouth. Hey, shit, fuck.
Hey, shit,
I'm gonna blow a load in your mouth in Northern Ireland.
So you've
while
read-
you're in a pretty red dress.
You've seen the letter.
I've seen the letter. Yeah.
Oh,
so you're
man.
familiar with. So obviously it's a mistake.
It's a mistake anyone could have made.
And down here at the bottom, the lipstick kiss.
Right.
That's funny for a
He
guy.
was wearing
For a
lipstick.
guy to do a lipstick kiss on the letter.
And I sent a letter back, and I said I'm very open to be put in any position by you with my own lipstick kiss,
Right.
because I thought that was perhaps some sort of Northern Irish
Culturally.
etiquette.
And
Yeah,
now is
it's
John. So John DeLorean is from Northern Ireland, or
I
what
think
is-
he's also from Wisconsin.
Okay.
All
Also-
letters are sealed.
Now,
with
are
a
we
kiss.
sure this was a man named? So you fuck. So in the 80s, he fucks you in Northern Ireland, and then a decade or so later, he hires you and tells you he needs a real cocksucker.
No, that you're confusing
With
John
the manager,
DeLorean
with the manager of
DeLorean.
John
He's just
DeLorean.
a sales manager at DeLorean.
But
Two different
But
guys.
this wasn't.
Two
That seemed
different
like it was
guys.
about 10 years apart, though.
No, it was about 6 years apart.
Okay, so you fuck John DeLorean.
I did.
And then you work at a different. You were already a car salesman.
Yeah.
So you work at a different dealership, and I guess also in that time you get
Well, you
married.
have to keep in mind that the DeLorean could travel in time. So
Oh, I see.
I worked at the DeLorean dealership, and then John DeLorean came
Oh,
from
it
the
was like
past
that
to
kind
sue
of
the
DeLorean.
dealership, at which I met him, and he brought me back to the past with him
I see. I
to
see.
rape me
Oh.
in Northern Ireland in the early 80s and redeliver me back to 1987. And he said, good luck proving that in a court of law.
Yeah, that's next to impossible.
And then everybody thinks I'm insane.
Right.
Like E. Jean Carroll. They say
Everyone thinks
they say
rape
that
is
guy's a
sexy.
real E. Jean Carroll.
That's what they call you, huh?
Yeah.
And what have you been doing since? Because that, I mean, all the stories you've told us, the latest time was 2003. So what have you been doing in the?
I started a podcast about the Westminster Dog Show.
Oh,
Really?
you
Yeah.
rate the doggos.
Well, I tell you, it's kind of defunct now because the first couple episodes I had some friends on and it was nice. We just talked about the dogs. Third episode we had a big get.
Oh yeah.
Lawrence Fishmeister. Does his name ring a bell?
Lawrence.
Not
know
really.
Lawrence
The first
Fishburne.
75% did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Lawrence
that's-
Fishburne, but
There's
I
an
don't know
actor
Lawrence
played
Fishburne.
Morpheus.
You're thinking of the
Yeah.
black guy from the fucking
From Morpheus.
from the King of New York.
I am. Yeah, Larry
Yeah,
Fishburne.
King of New York.
The
Deep
but this
cover.
guy was the premier judge of the Westminster Dog Show.
Oh wow, that is a big get.
Come
From
on, stop trying to
1973
hit me.
until 1993.
What kind of relationship did you guys have?
Well, we were just going to interview him for the podcast. And he got into town early and he said, I'm at my hotel and then we have a couple of hours before we do the show. Why don't you come over? Anyhow,
Dude, he's gonna be
and we
raped
can
again.
talk about some Toyotas I was thinking
Oh
about.
wow! So, but you're out of the game. You're a podcaster.
And I said, I don't really want to talk about Toyotas. I had kind of a traumatic experience. I'm
You
just
sold them for years.
Oh, he said, "Oh, no problem. We can just." And so we got to I got to his hotel, and it was nice. He's showing me awards that he had won and
Yeah,
pictures of him
yeah.
with presidents,
Right.
different characters.
And he must be pretty old at this
Him
point
and
too,
Ronald
right?
Reagan, him and Margaret Thatcher. He had a picture of him and Osama bin Laden.
Oh, holy shit!
So he was a popular guy back in the 1980s, and he said, do you want me to give you a sample? And I said, of what? And he said, of how I judge the dogs. And I said, sure. And he said, well, get down like a puppy dog.
On all fours.
And he had a
no.
collar and a leash, and he
no.
put it on me.
Uh-huh.
And I said, okay. And then he had a little dog snout and some ears, and he put on me. And, he's like, well, go around the room. And I thought it was weird at first, but then I kind of got into it.
You got into it.
And I'm like, woof, woof.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's like, okay, come over here, Jim. And we're going around the room. And he said, well, it's not really working because the dog, doesn't wear clothes.
Doesn't wear clothes. This is really tripping me up.
And that's where, I said, okay, something seems like it's up.
Something's up.
So this-
At that point, your spidey senses start tingling.
Something's up.
With the collar on, with
But
the
I
dog
figured
mask.
He did have a point. Dogs don't wear
They
clothes.
don't. They wear a collar, but
So
that's it.
I took my clothes off and I'm going around the apartment, and he said, okay, well, get up on here in the bed, boy. And I'm up on bed on all fours, and he reached under my legs and grabbed my scrotum and started massaging my testicles.
Oh, wow. That must have felt kind of good at first.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was weird, but he's like, this is the most important part of the dog
That's
show.
how he judges.
Uh-huh.
And I said, what are you checking for testicular cancer? And he says, no, a lot of people don't understand what's going on when the judge. I was the guy that invented this.
Wow.
Back in the day, they looked at me like I was crazy when I started feeling the dog's balls.
Right.
But what really sets a dog apart at the dog show
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the level of obedience
Right.
of the dog. And it's indicative of the breed.
Yeah,
So when
being a good boy.
when you play with a dog's balls,
Right.
A regular dog will probably bite you. A show dog knows not to bite you. But there still might be an underlying level of tension that the dog is experiencing.
Right.
So when you're playing with the dog's balls, what you want to look for is the tightness of the dog's asshole. Because that indicates how stressed out the dog is.
And how do you check for that?
And so he's massaging my balls, and I noticed my asshole is a bit tight.
Right.
And he said, "So this would be a fail. This should be not a pass because you're not relaxed."
Worston show.
And I said, "Well, I
want to succeed.
I don't want to be upstaged by a dog." And I think I got lube out his bag and he fucked me. And I said, "How much more? We got 3 minutes left." You got 3 minutes left.
Bro.
So he said, as he slid each inch into my asshole.
Right. And when that's happening, what are you thinking? Just out of curiosity.
I'm saying I'm a Dalmatian. I'm a Dalmatian.
Right.
I'm a Dalmatian. I'm a Dalmatian. And then he said, he pulled my hair back and he said, "If you're a good enough boy, I'll come buy one of your slut Toyotas."
Wow.
And that sent me
fuck?
into a spiral.
Right.
Oh, that was like your sensory recall.
And much like a dog, I sort of snapped around and I ripped his trachea out with my teeth.
Oh, wow.
I really turned into a feral animal. And you would think that murdering a man with your bare hands, you're chewing through his neck veins and bleeding him out in the hotel room, would give you enough street credit that when you're invariably sentenced to 10 years in prison for manslaughter, that
you get a little respect.
You get respect. But
Yeah.
they found out about the dog thing, and I don't even know where they got a kennel to put
In jail.
in jail. But day one, they already had toys for me and little princess dog outfits that I had to wear.
Wow.
And they said there was a guy named Tyrone that called me his little Bichon Frise.
I see.
That's me.
And
Bichon
boy,
Frise.
I thought I knew what being raped was before I went to jail. But these guys in there,
fucking
it's like
salesman,
it's
man.
like the NBA. dude.
Right.
You're playing street ball
The
outside.
speed of the game is so much faster. The
Yeah.
speed and the power.
When you get into a Midwestern state prison, a frigid, landlocked hell filled with just the raw, unbridled rage of maladjusted racial tensions over the last 100 years. A place that's too fake to deal with racism.
Right.
They really they let a dog have it.
They let a white dog named Jim really
Yeah.
they really put a pounding on his asshole.
And the worst part about it was I couldn't do my podcast while I was in
Yeah,
So
you
it
didn't
kinda
even
fell
know what was
apart. You
going
guys had
on
it-
at the Westminster
So
show.
after two episodes-
we were seeing a huge uptick in traffic.
Because that was a big get.
We
The
were
guy
seeing
that
a lot of
raped
good
you.
metrics. We were averaging maybe about 750, 1,000 downloads per episode. And I was getting
Really? Holy shit.
I was getting emails from people from all over. 2 or 3 guys. One of them was in California. He told me his autism. He's lived with his mom his whole life, and it really brightened his day to listen to me talk about dogs and stuff. And to know that I was making a difference in someone's life really felt good.
That
Made
must
it
have
all
felt
worth
really-
it.
And so I emailed him back and I said, "No, thank you. I appreciate it." And he said, "Listen, I'm actually going to be in Fond du Lac."
Really?
And I was out on parole, and I didn't have anything to do. And he was like, "Well, do you want to meet me
My
Am I
fucking
at the drive-through
hairs
of
right here keep tickling my nose.
fucking whatever the Midwestern version of Whataburger is?"
Right.
And that guy raped me also.
Yeah.
At Culver's.
And
Dude.
that
At Culver's, you had a nice custard in your system?
This
Yeah, you had
guy's been
your cheese
raped how many
curds.
times?
Jim, I gotta say, pal, so now you're out of jail.
yeah.
When's the last time you were raped? How long has it been? Do you have one of those boards at your house that says
Days
0
since.
days since getting raped?
I feel like that's a very personal question.
Okay.
You've shared a lot.
I don't think I can. I think it's outside of my Midwestern good
Your
grace,
values. I
my
understand.
Midwestern value system.
Well, listen, Jim, we're all having a good time hanging out. Do you maybe want to come back to my place after this?
You know, I would love to, but I'm meeting with a potential investor down at the Econo Lodge on Route 40.
Okay. Oh wow.
Investor in what?
Wait, you're meeting at the Route 40 of Pulaski Highway in Rosedale, Maryland?
Sure.
You're going to get the pod back up and running?
There's a guy who might buy podcasting equipment for me, but he says I got to suck his dick to get it. And I think that's just an expression.
Yeah, it's probably. Well, maybe another time, Jim.
Maybe another time.
Man. All right. Oh boy, that one. Oh man. I was trying to keep it together that whole 23 minutes. Fuck. I'm out, bro. I'm out.